You're sitting at a red light. Nobody is coming from any direction. The road is completely empty. And you're still sitting there waiting. Why does that happen? And why does a light sometimes seem to know a car is coming before it even gets there? Traffic lights seem like the simplest technology in the world. Red means stop, green means go. But the system running those lights is one of the most quietly sophisticated pieces of engineering in your city, and almost nobody knows how it actually works. Let's fix that. The first traffic light in history was installed in London in 1868, outside the Houses of Parliament. It was gas-powered, manually operated by a police officer, and it exploded after about a month. Not a great start, but the idea stuck, and by the time cars took over the roads in the early 1900s, the cities desperately needed a way to manage the chaos. The first automated electric traffic signal appeared in Cleveland, Ohio in 1914. Just two colors, red and green, no yellow. Drivers had to figure out the transition themselves. Yellow didn't get standardized until the 1920s, when engineer William Potts, working for the Detroit Police Department, added the amber signal to give drivers a reaction window. That three-color system has been with us ever since, but what's changed almost beyond recognition is everything happening behind those colored lights. Here's where it gets interesting. If you've ever been stuck at a red light with absolutely no cross-traffic in sight, congratulations. You've just experienced a fixed-time traffic signal. These are the oldest and simplest type. They run on a preset timer, red for 45 seconds, green for 60 seconds, repeat, forever. They don't know if there are 10 cars waiting or 0 cars waiting. They just count time and change color. For a city that decided what the traffic looked like in 1975 and never updated it, this is what you're dealing with. Most modern intersections, though, run something far more interesting, actuated signals. These lights actually sense the traffic around them and adjust in real time. And if you're curious about how everyday things around you actually work, this is exactly the kind of stuff Plainly Put is here for. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now, how does a traffic light actually sense a car? The most common method is something called an inductive loop detector. This is a coil of wire embedded in the pavement. It's usually visible as a rectangular cut in the road surface near the stop line. You've driven over thousands of these without realizing it. When you pull a car, a large metal object, over that loop, it changes the electromagnetic field around the wire. The system detects that change and registers it as a vehicle waiting at the light. This is also why motorcycles and bicycles sometimes get ignored at intersections. They don't have enough metal mass to trigger the loop reliably. A lot of motorcyclists know the trick. Position your bike directly over the cut line in the pavement rather than the center of the lane to get the strongest signal. Newer intersections are moving away from inductive loops entirely. Video cameras mounted on signal poles now use computer vision to detect vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists. Because some systems use radar or microwave sensors. A few cutting-edge intersections are even using infrared detection and Bluetooth signals from connected vehicles. The technology changes, but the goal is the same. Know what's out there so the light can respond intelligently. Here's something most people never think about. Traffic lights at busy intersections don't work alone. They talk to each other. This is called signal coordination, and it's the reason you sometimes seem to hit every green light when you're driving at just the right speed down a main boulevard. Traffic engineers design what they call a green wave, a cascade of green lights timed to move through an area at the average speed of traffic. If you're going 35 miles per hour on the intended corridor, the next light turns green just as you arrive. And the one after that. The system is essentially rolling a carpet of green lights in front of you. Getting this right is genuinely hard. It involves modeling traffic flow, accounting for pedestrian crossing times, balancing competing routes, and adjusting for the fact that traffic patterns change throughout the day. Morning rush hour, lunch traffic, school dismissal, evening commute. Each one has its own timing profile, and modern systems switch between them automatically based on the time of day and real-time conditions. The most advanced intersections in operation today use what's called adaptive traffic control, a system that continuously monitors traffic flow across entire corridors or city districts. and adjust signal timing in real time, second by second. Cities like Pittsburgh, Sydney, and Los Angeles have tested versions of these systems and seen measurable reductions in travel time and vehicle idling. Pittsburgh's system, called SurTrack, was developed at Carnegie Mellon University and in pilot programs reduced travel time by 25% and vehicle idling by over 40%. Think about what that means scaled across an entire city, millions of cars sitting at red lights every day when they don't need to be. That's not just wasted time, it's wasted fuel, wasted emissions, and wasted money. The humble traffic light is actually one of the most significant levers cities have for reducing carbon emissions and improving air quality, just by running smarter. And then there's the emergency vehicle system, which is one of the coolest pieces of traffic light technology most people have never heard of. When a fire truck or ambulance is responding to a call, it needs to get through intersections without causing an accident. Most modern emergency vehicles are equipped with a system called Opticom, or a similar preemption technology, that sends a signal ahead of the vehicle, usually via infrared light or GPS. Traffic controllers at upcoming intersections receive the signal and automatically hold or switch their lights to give the emergency vehicle a clear path. The whole process happens in seconds, often before you even hear the siren. By the time you've pulled to the side of the road and the ambulance blows through, that intersection has already been cleared and is already returning to normal operation. There's one more thing worth knowing, and it involves a button that millions of people press every day believing it does something it almost never does: the pedestrian crossing button. In most modern cities, pressing the pedestrian button at a busy intersection does not make the light change faster. The signal timing is controlled by the traffic management system, not by individual pedestrian requests. What the button actually does in most cases is register a pedestrian and ensure that the walk signal activates during the next scheduled green cycle, and sometimes extend the crossing time slightly for accessibility reasons. The reason the myth persists is timing. You press the button, you wait what feels like a random amount of time, and then the light changes. It feels like causation. It isn't. As studies have found that the majority of pedestrian buttons in large cities are essentially placebo buttons. They make people feel like they have control without actually changing the system's behavior. New York City famously disconnected most of its pedestrian buttons decades ago when it installed computerized signal control. The buttons remained in place. People kept pressing them, and for years, nothing happened because of it. The entire system you interact with every time you drive through an intersection is a layered, constantly adapting citywide machine, one that most of us take completely for granted because the only feedback we get is a colored light. But underneath it is decades of engineering, real-time computation, and quiet infrastructure that keeps the millions of people moving every day without crashing into each other. Next time you're sitting at a red light, you're not just waiting. You're sitting inside a system that's actively calculating. And depending on how smart your city's signals are, that wait might be exactly as long as it needs to be. Or it might be a relic of a 1975 traffic study that nobody has updated since. Either way, now you know how it works, and that, plainly put, is the science behind the traffic light. If this made your commute slightly more interesting, share it with someone who sits in traffic more than they'd like. And if you want more of the real story behind how everyday things actually work, Plainly Put is here every week. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time.